It's fashion tea time. Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 1. So they open up with a mysterious woman coming to sit down and look at some clips of the upcoming season. The girls are just all over. They're traveling, having fun, shaking their booties, getting ready for the season. See the little shade coming in. This is the opening. And ladies dressed all revealing and arguing, and Cynthia barely turns around talking about, and what else is going on? First clip is at Phaedra's house. She's with her 15-year-old son, Aiden. She's like, what's the criteria for your date for the homecoming dance? And he says, someone that's pretty. And she's like, yeah, but what about somebody who's intelligent too? And then he's like, you know what? We need to get somebody for you too. Maybe like Drake. No. But anyway. And he's like, Drake is rich. And she's like, but I'm rich too. So then we see Kelly sending her daughter off to college. So this is her first child that she is sending away. And her daughter is going to Spelman. And she's happy, but she's crying and sad at the same time. Now they are at the Oakley's house with Angela and Charles Oakley and Angela's daughter. So Angela's over there cooking, but she need a little help on that grill over there. So Charles is like, let me help you. She's like, no, but I'm supposed to be the one cooking for you. So he said that the burger did taste good, even though her daughter did say they look like hockey pucks. But okay, that's good. At least that he said they taste good. Because you know that Charles and Angela, they have a very intricate way of interacting with each other. They like bickering is their love language, okay? If one person says yes, the other person says no, and that is how they show their love for each other. So recently, Charles went on to a relationship podcast and they asked him, so what made you get married to Angela? And he said, somebody put something in my drink, implying that someone drugged him and he did not voluntarily marry Angela. So Angela was like, why did you say that? And he's like, I told you about it. I apologize. I'm here. That's it. And Angela said, you know what, this season, she is not going for any rumors. If anyone says anything, it's all right. She said she heard that he sleeps with rollers in his hair. She heard that he's sleeping with the candy lady down the block, but she said she does not care. This season, she does not care. That's her man, and that's her man. She don't care about the rumors. Okay. So now they get up to go, and she like, give me a hug. Of course, he always acting a little standoffish, and she like, touch my booty. He like, no. Again, that's their love language. They always be like at each other. But she said this is the best they've ever been in their relationship. So kudos to them. Good for them. Let them live their life. And hopefully Charles is not out here stepping around. Okay. All right, so now they are with Portia, and she went to K. Michelle's event to see K. Michelle do her photo shoot for her upcoming country album. So they know each other from seeing each other around. Portia said that people say they look alike. Also, they've done a movie before as well. So K. Michelle is happy that she is finally doing her country music album. She's been wanting to do this for a long time. She said that the people know her as K. Michelle, but her family and the country people know her as Puddin'. And she got Puddin' engraved on her Texas style belt. Okay. So they're looking at the album cover photos, and it looking sexy. Okay, K. Michelle. Portia's like, oh, this is the little Kim of country, the way that K. Michelle posing on the floor in that lingerie. Okay. So K. Michelle does look really nice, really sexy. Congratulations to her on her album coming up. She's been wanting to do this country album for so long. Okay. So they over there catching up and things like that. And K. Michelle said that she is so excited to really be into the country genre because she's been wanting to do this for so long. K. Michelle said Beyonce reached out to her and invited K. Michelle to her concert in a, private get-together. So we don't know if that actually happened, but it seemed like it did happen. Like the month before they filmed this, Beyonce reached out and sent some flowers and invited to meet with her. Portia was like, well, you're going to need somebody to hold your bag during this time, so I could come with you. And K. Michelle was like, nah, you don't need to hold my bag, but you could come with me. So I'm assuming that they did go and they met with Beyonce, but they didn't discuss that any further yet. So we'll see. Now, Portia is talking about her divorce being finally final. She said there's still some things that are still going on, but at the same time, she feels good about the divorce. She feels good about herself, and nothing is holding her back, and she's ready to live her life. She said it was a long time coming. They probably were getting a divorce longer than they were actually married, but that's a whole nother situation. If y'all know what happened with that marriage and how it even started and how she started messing with him. But I was not surprised that that marriage ended just the way that everything happened. But it seemed like Portia really thought she was chasing some dollar signs. And that is not what she was chasing, okay? She was chasing a whole lot of lies and foolishness, and that's what she got, marrying that man. But good that she got a divorce, and now she is ready to continue living her life without all of that drama. So she's saying last season, they kind of ended up, with a lot of disagreements and issues and stuff like that. So she wanted to have a dinner with the ladies to have, like a calm, peaceful get-together. And it's going to be a couples get-together, right? So then K. Michelle is like, yeah, well, I recently got married. His name is Dr. Keston. He's a dentist, and they recently got married in Nashville at a courthouse. So it seemed like K. Michelle was trying to keep it on the low a little bit. But she's really excited. They have known each other since the 9th grade, and they kind of dated on and off. So good for them. Okay. So they're talking about the ladies that are coming. And when Shamia's name came up, K. Michelle was like, oh, that's your best friend. And Portia was like, that's my ex-best friend now. So she's discussing their relationship that, right now they don't have a relationship. A lot of that has to do with Shamia being a full-time cast member on the show now. So previously, Shamia just came on the show as Portia's friend. They have been friends since grade school, so it was a real relationship. But there also, were issues and things that happen in any relationship. And once Shamia kind of came on full time last season, or 2 seasons ago actually, it seemed like, the issues in the relationship started to show more, and they were having more issues and conflicts and kind of going back and forth, not talking, things like that. So we do see them not being friends at this time. They have not spoken since the reunion, even though they did exchange texts, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's a part of life and this show. Anyone who knows, if you come on this show, your relationship is going to be tested, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship. A lot of friendships have ended. A lot of marriages have ended. A lot of girlfriend and boyfriend relationships have ended from this show. So this show highlights any issues in your relationship. And if your relationship can stand the test of this show, then that shows a lot about your relationship. So we'll see what happens continually with Shamia and Portia, but we also see like Shamia kind of take on a new friend. You'll see soon. So Portia said even though they have issues, she is definitely going to still invite Shamia. She's not going to leave her out. Obviously, she's a cast member, so she's going to kind of include her in it. So K. Michelle is talking about her reputation in Atlanta and how it's been so bad and how she felt very judged and she feels angry by the experiences that she's had. Now, K. Michelle used to be a member of Love and Hip Hop of Atlanta. Now, sometimes it's like, where is the love? Because Love and Hip Hop is like a whole bunch of love and hate in Atlanta. But K. Michelle also was a part of contributing to the hate as well. You know, she did a lot. People did things to her. It's just kind of a part of the show, unfortunately. That's kind of the culture of the show. And so she got caught up in a lot of that ongoing drama and arguing and fighting with ladies and things like that. And her feeling like ladies were doing things to her. She was doing things to them. So she says she feels angry about how she was treated from the ladies of Atlanta. She feels like there's a lot of bullying and things like that. So she wants a new, different experience in Atlanta with these ladies. So we'll see what happens with that. Portia is telling her to come with a new mind frame and to kind of let the old things go so that she doesn't bring that same energy this time when she's in Atlanta trying to do her thing. And we see how emotional K. Michelle is and affected by what she experienced because she starts tearing up and things like that. And, you know, that's unfortunate to see that you go on a show and you feel like you got torn down by people. This is what happens a lot on these reality shows, unfortunately, some of them. And so, you know, that's one thing about it. Not to say that it's right or it should happen, but we do see that happen. And, you know, ladies feel like they're being judged, bullied, torn down from each other when that's not the purpose of these reality shows. But I guess that's a different situation. So let's see what type of experience K. Michelle has in Atlanta with these ladies. Obviously, some of the clips already show kind of the back and forth and, you know, some of the issues that are going to arise. But overall, let's see how her experience is going to be. So now they're at Shamia's house and Kelly comes over. Okay. Now, it seemed like during the break from filming, the ladies were getting close to each other. Shamia and Kelly were going on family vacations. They were watching each other's children and things like that. And Shamia is over here talking about Kelly is her capital BFF, best friend forever, and she does not ever plan on letting her go. It's great that the ladies have been getting along and seem to be establishing a real relationship off the cameras. However, Shamia, slow down. You just met this lady 1 season ago, okay? And you also just are getting out of a close long-term relationship with somebody. Like, slow your roll. How is this your BFF and you are still getting to know this person? That is a little too much. Let's even see how the season ends between the two of them, okay? Because we saw what happened last season with Britt and Kelly and how they were all cool, but they were newbies on the show, right? So we could see how they kind of connected, but by the end of that show, they were not talking and, you know, were having issues or whatever. And this is what happens with these shows. So I think Shamia needs to slow down with calling Kelly her BFF when they are still establishing a relationship. Just establish the relationship. It don't got to be forever that you know it's going to be and things of that nature, whatever. But it's good that they are getting along, hanging out. So Kelly is over at Shamia's house and they're kind of talking about Kelly's daughter going away to college for the first time again. And they're so excited for her. So Shamia made a gift packet for Kelly's daughter, and she put some liquor in there, and she put some condoms up in there, and Kelly is like, no, what are you doing? And Shamia's like, I'm just keeping it real. This is what she needs in college, okay? And they're like, listen, they're going to go through that little box of condoms in one day. So she went and got her a big box of condoms too, like, so they could last a little bit. She like, oh, you got a pregnancy test in here too? Like, what are you doing? Da-da-da-da. Well, hopefully she don't need the pregnancy test if she using the condoms. But, okay, enjoy yourself over there in college, okay? And then Kelly's like, watch what I give to your daughters when they go to college. But again, let's see if they even talking by that time, because those little babies are small, okay? So Shamia recently went to Grenada because she has opened up a rum company there. So now she needs to go back and forth frequently. So Kelly's excited because she wants to go over there and travel with her and things like that. And Shamia is like, yes, yes, yes. So they're all excited. That's great. Great for Shamia. Shamia said that her husband believes in her and her singing career and things like that. So he's invested over 6 figures in it. But at the same time, she feels like she wants to contribute to the family finances and not just take away. And we know she's not making no money from that music. Come on now. But it's good that she's exploring. She's doing all of that. So she's looking for another venture to be able to make money so that she can also provide for the family. So she is embarking on this new endeavor with some rum, and we'll see how that goes. Good for her. She did say that at first she was like, not confident in her business abilities. She was like, she's an intelligent woman, but still when it comes to business, that's a different thing. So she was like, whoa, but at the same time, she's just doing it, and great for her. All right. And we'll see how that goes. Let's see how the liquor tastes too. Okay. So she was out there partying, having a good time, and things like that. And I guess we'll see if they go take some trips over there or not. They start talking about Portia's event, and Kelly's like, she can't wait to see the ladies, and it's going to be an interesting night and things like that. Shamia is like, she's a little more apprehensive because obviously she has a, issue between her and Portia, who's the host, and things like that. Shamia said she was happy to get the invitation, but she doesn't really know if it was like supposed to be given to her because it was in a group text, and she was thinking like maybe Portia just forgot to take her off the group text. But no, Portia meant to invite her because she is a part of the group. Shamia said that, they haven't spoken since the reunion, but after she saw the reunion and after things kind of settled with her and she kind of was catching on to some of the things that were being said to her, that she texts Portia, and then they started going back and forth in text. So she starts memeing out the text, and basically it's like a lot of like F you or this or that, just kind of going back and forth and not solving anything. So Kelly is like, is your husband coming to the event since it is a couples night? Okay, and we know her husband don't go nowhere. Okay, he only gets filmed when they come to the house. If it's an event at their house and he's there, he will be on the camera a little bit. If not, he does not go anywhere to be filmed, okay, for this show, which is fine. Leave the man alone. But okay, so she asks him, you want to go? And you could even hear it in his voice. He's like, yeah, tomorrow. We'll see. Like, obviously, no, that man is not coming. Okay. We already know that. Okay. And they're like, oh, since it is a couples event and it is her event, who is Portia bringing? And then they're like, hold on. So she going to be bringing some man to Simon's house. That was their marital home, but it's her home as well. And Kelly's like, what if she want to get, her words, Cuddy, okay, whatever, how is that going to work in their old marital house? And Shamia's like, I'm sure that Cuddy already happened before. Like, this is not going to be the first time. So that's not even going to be an issue, okay? But they start joking about Simon's ghost being in the house and things like that. So now it's time for Portia's Mystic Island dinner, okay? They got the vibes all going. Nice decoration, some drinks and everything. They have some musicians there. You know Portia did not create this theme herself because she's like, wait, what's the name of my dinner? It's Majestic? Is it what? The name of her event is Mystic Island Dinner, okay? But, you know, one of her associates probably created that and did all of that, so she don't even know. And if you know, that's how Portia is. Portia be like, what? Who's that? What? If you don't know, taking it back. Portia did not know what the Underground Railroad was, okay? And her grandfather and father, her grandfather was a civil rights activist. So, you know, that just kind of shows Portia. But that's just always how she is. Okay, so the people started arriving. Cynthia was like, you know, my man couldn't come, but I brought him in the phone. So here he is, La Prince, okay? So we know that's her new man. Okay, good for Cynthia. He looked like he's good. He looks sexy. They be doing that thing, I'm sure. Okay. So that's good for Cynthia. But she bought her little doll on top of the phone. I don't know what that's about. Okay. But Portia was like, that's your voodoo doll that you used to get him? It kind of looked like it too. So he's not going to be physically there because it don't seem like he want to be on that show either. But he just showed up on the camera to say hello to Portia. Okay. Now, Phaedra comes with her man. We've seen him before because he was on Married to Medicine and he came along as her date there when Phaedra was on that show for a little hot second. And so we've seen her with him before. I think it's like Shay or something like that. Nice, cute, sexy. So that's good, but I don't know how serious they are. I think they just kind of date or friends, date, whatever, you know, that kind of situation. So Phaedra is there with her man, and now we see Drew come in. Drew also got another phone date as well, and her phone date is the mysterious Mr. Black that they were saying she was messing with last season, but she was denying it. She was like, no, I'm not messing with him. I'm not messing with him. But apparently that's her quote unquote friend now. So she be on the phone with him all the time. They said, what you do after dark? She said, oh, we be on the phone still doing things after dark. So whatever that situation is, it is whatever that situation is. Angela's like, stop lying, girl. I don't know why you lying because we all know the truth, but okay. Maybe she's lying because, you know, they just kind of dating. She's still going through a divorce. She don't want to say something is all serious, and it might not even be that serious. Also, she still has, in her words, a man living under her stairs, you know, because of their ongoing divorce situation. The judge had ordered that he is able to live underneath her stairs, live in the basement of their marital home. So that's where he's been, and it's been over 2 years. So she says she's still surprised that she has, quote unquote, a man living under her stairs. And, you know, they just still trying to go through the divorce situation, which is unfortunate. It's been dragged out like this so much, but this is what's happening. So she is dating on the phone with Black. Cynthia's like, this is the second date that's on the phone. She's like, maybe I should have just made this an Uber date and sent the food to the people because the people are not coming. They coming through the phone. Now, K. Michelle shows up with her husband, Dr. Caston. Okay. And she is wearing an olive green suit. Okay, which is nice, but you know, they were supposed to wear all black. But she's like, what? I didn't see that. It's written on the invitation. It was just written at the bottom, kind of small. So maybe she overlooked that. And then she also did say she unpacking. So is it that you didn't know that you were supposed to wear all black, or you just couldn't get to those things because you were still unpacking? But anyway, it's all good. She also has some black fur on her suit, which is on her wrist. A lot of nice black fur fur feathers. So Portia was like, that's okay. You know, you still blended in with the black. It's all right. It's okay. So in 2024, K. Michelle went on Queen's Court, which is a reality dating show. And so she said she was on an off time with Dr. Caston, and she was also letting him know and see, like, there are other potential men out here that I could be dating and being with. And then she said after that, she said it didn't really make him change his mind, but then she said she put his feet to the fire, and that is the reason why they got married. Now, ladies, you don't need to put no man's feet to the fire to marry you, okay? If that man wants to marry you and he's ready to be devoted to you, then he is going to marry you. When you put that pressure and feet to the fire, then you're going to get people doing things that they might not really want to be doing, and that's going to show up in their actions in the marriage. But that's, you know, fine. They got married. She put his feet to the fire. He obviously said, okay, I'm going to marry you. And they are married now. So hopefully their marriage works out and we'll see how things go. Congratulations to K. Michelle. She does seem, genuinely happy with him, and he seems happy with her. You know, obviously it's just a couple of seconds, but still, sometimes you could see some things happening. So let's see how their relationship unfolds as well. But congratulations to the newlyweds. The ladies are meeting K. Michelle. Drew is always talking out the side of her mouth and throwing some shade, but then she don't understand when people do it back to her. She's like, I know K. Michelle. She used to be a singer, or she is a singer, or I don't know. Like, girl, you know right and well that K. Michelle is a singer. Stop playing. Come on now. When Drew first came onto the show, she seemed to, be of a regular person, not necessarily throwing all the shade. But it seems like over time, now she be just throwing shade, making little comments. And sometimes it's just like you just doing things just to be saying and doing them. But also, she is going through a divorce. And when you see people on these shows going through a divorce, that shows a whole nother different side of them. So, that could be it a little bit. Also, she's probably been getting so much shade thrown at her that people start to get defensive and they start developing these toxic ways of interacting with each other. So that could also be it as well. Now, Portia's date shows up, and she started getting all nervous and stuff, walking in circles and everything. So you see she like him a little bit. She a little nervous. Okay, he's a nice-looking, tall, scrumptious-looking man. Okay, good for you, Portia. She says she's a little nervous because she has not introduced anyone to the ladies since Dennis. She said they didn't even meet her ex-husband. Well, actually, they did meet your ex-husband. They just met him when he was someone else's husband. Okay. And then he didn't stay around long enough for him to really get to know the ladies as your husband. So that's what happened there, Portia. But anyway, good for her. So he seems like, a nice guy. Seems like, right? Nice smile, clean cut. He got a bald head. I think Dennis got that bald head too. She liked that bald head. Oh, the husband had a bald head too. Yeah, she liking them bald heads. Okay. But he does seem nice. Like he could hold his own and talk to the ladies and stuff like that. He's smiling a lot. The lady said they're about to grill him. And so he's like, Portia's like, can they grill you? And he's like, yeah, all right. So that's good. Nice, confident man. Listen, when you around these ladies, you cannot be over here whimpering and all scared and stuff like that. You got to hold your own. So they doing that, okay? They over there asking him about how he got to know Portia and stuff like that. Now they switched to Shamia's house, in which Pinky Cole and her husband have come to Shamia's house. Okay, so Shamia got she got like a bodysuit. The whole front is open and everything. It is skin tight. It's showing every little curve and everything. And Shamia does have a nice body. I think she had some surgery, obviously, but I think she already had a nice body too. But the ladies are saying like that Shamia has some more surgery. Maybe she did, whatever. But she looking good. Now you seen Pinky Cole. She look nice too. She got a nice black halter type, pantsuit going on, nice. Then she got some flats on. She was like, I'm not even trying to put no heels on for this. I got some flats on. Okay, girl, you do you. Okay, that's fine. So they over there having some shots pre-gaming before they go over to Portia's house. And they waiting for Shamia's husband, supposedly. Okay, but we know he ain't coming. So they over there drinking, and then she calling her husband like, oh, where are you? He's like, oh, the plane got rerouted to Charlottesville, so I can't come. Obviously, we know, you believe that if you want to. That plane didn't get rerouted anywhere. He rerouted himself somewhere. That's what happened, because he knew he wasn't going to that event, okay? And Shamia knew he wasn't going either. She's like, oh, yeah, I got him to change his mind and say he was going to come, so I bought matching outfits. And then, I can't be mad, though, if the plane rerouted him. Like, that plane didn't reroute him nowhere. Like I said, he rerouted himself somewhere because he knew he wasn't going. So anyway, they running a little late. So now they over there back at Portia's house like, oh, we're going to start the games, but we still waiting for the other couples to come. And you see Drew start interjecting herself, throwing unnecessary shade, talking about, oh, where's Shamia? Why is she running so late? So Portia's like, it's raining outside a little bit. Maybe she's just running a little late. And Drew's like, well, it's not raining over here no more. Maybe it's raining on her side of the town, whatever, trying to insinuate some stuff. And Portia was not taking it. She was just like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. I tell you, that's Drew. Drew is starting to just be shadier than shade. Okay. She need to get through that divorce so she can move on with her life. All right. So now they back at the dinner, and everybody's kind of looking at Portia and her man with the googly eyes. And so Angela's like, is this like a real relationship that's brewing in front of us? So they like, give us the tea about your relationship, whatever. So Portia starts being like, well, we kind of met during COVID and this and this and that. And the lady's like, wait, didn't you just meet your ex-husband at that time? Wasn't y'all getting together at that time? So they were like, you know what, maybe Portia is not realizing like the timelines are kind of intertwining with each other and things like that. Whatever. But it is what it is. She already divorced that man anyway. So if she was cheating on him, if she was messing with someone else, whatever, that's really irrelevant. And he probably was doing whatever he was doing anyway, too. So she with this guy now. This is her boo. And that's that. Okay. So now Shamia and Pinky's husband arrive, right? Shamia's like, hopefully this is not a setup. Since the last time we interacted, it was like going back and forth on the text. So she's like, am I getting set up? But, she's just joking. But at the same time, hey, you never know, right? So they arrived, they're greeted and everything like that. So Pinky's kind of going around to everyone and saying hello. So if y'all don't know, Pinky owns Slutty Vegan. And so she knows some people, people know her, whatever. It just says she knows Pinky because she's done business with Pinky, and, she's just been seeing her like for the last 10 years and stuff like that. So they're cool. Kelly and Pinky are both from Baltimore. That's Baltimore, Bmore, Maryland. And Kelly said that she had sent Pinky a DM and Pinky left her on red. So I guess Pinky was like, no about that one. So Kelly was feeling like a slight shade from Pinky. Also, Pinky and K. Michelle are sorority sisters. They're both Deltas, so they already clicked and stuff like that. One of Pinky's line sister is like a manager or some relationship to K. Michelle, so they knew each other and things like that. All right, so Pinky is kind of sliding into the group of the ladies, and so is K. Michelle, because these people are kind of known. These are not necessarily like people that people don't know. K. Michelle is a singer, and Pinky owns Slutty Vegan, and she became really popular and famous off of that in Atlanta. and around, other places too. People know her. All right. So the group is all together now, and Phaedra said that Pinky is definitely a smart cookie with no animal products in it at all. Now, Drew's over there reintroducing her man Black to everyone, that everyone's sitting down or whatever. And she's like, he is on the phone over here. And so the lady's like, oh, we thought you was on a Zoom call. The ones that just came in. They weren't there before. And they're like, oh, we thought you was on a work Zoom call. And she's like, no, I'm talking to my friend on here, and he is my date. So now that they're all together, they start playing their game. And first they go to the Oakleys, and they said, who made the first move in the bedroom? And again, this is the Oakleys' love language, to spit or spat with each other and dispute what the other person said. So Angela was like, he was ready to go the first night. So Charles said, yeah, you stay ready, then you don't got to get ready. And then he also is like, though, but I didn't really want it on the first night. And Angela's like, yes, you did. He's like, no, I didn't. I didn't try to get on the first night. You got in a car with someone else, and I went my way. Angela's like, no, that's what they do. They are always arguing, or maybe it's not necessarily arguing, but disputing what the other person said. Like, oh, you said it was red. No, it wasn't red. It was yellow. No, it was blue. It was green. Okay, whatever. Ladies even said, okay, whatever. We're going to go on to the next question, because y'all going to sit there forever and go back and forth about who is right and who's wrong. They go to Kay, Michelle, and her husband, and they said, who is most likely to start an argument just to have makeup sex? And Kay says very quickly, it's me. And her husband agreed. So they in agreement with that. Then they go to Pinky and her husband, and they said, have y'all ever had any public interactions, if you know what I mean? And so they said, yes. They said they was looking at a house, and they were on the second floor, and the realtor was on the first floor, and they said they christened the house real quick. They knew that was going to be their home, and they just wanted to bless it real quick. So they said they did that. Okay. Now they go to Shamia, and they say, name one thing from your last partner that you would, give to your current partner to make him better. And she said, there is nothing that needs to be made better about my man. Okay. And all the ladies agree, like, that's the right response. That's the right response. But then Drew chimes in, where is your husband? Where is your husband? Where is he at? And Shamia's like, well, he's not here. And the same reason that you got your date on the phone. And Drew says, oh, because he's traveling? And Shamia was like, yes, actually, that is the reason why, because he is traveling. And then Drew's like, oh, are you all right? Because you answered with a little extra spice. And Shamia's like, you should just worry about your Zoom call. Stay over there. Again, this is just Drew just chiming in, Cynthia is like, why are you questioning and surprised that man is not here? Cynthia's like, I didn't expect that man to be here. Shamia didn't even expect her own husband to be here. So, Drew, why did you expect him to be here? Okay, if you're not paying attention, that man don't come around. Let that man be. He said the TV is not for me, okay? Let him go and make his money and do what he needs to do so he could keep Shamia laid up in that house, okay? Let that man be. He didn't sign up for this show. His wife did. Okay. So now they ask Cynthia, who have you had a sex dream about at this table? And Cynthia says, no, I think the real question needs to be, who has had a sex dream about me? Okay. Because, Cynthia used to be a model and so beautiful. But the thing with Cynthia, I don't know why she went and got that butt put on her. But anyway, she looked good before. She still does look good. And that's good for Cynthia. But, people be liking Cynthia. So, but nobody answered the question. Whatever. So now they went to Portia, her man, whatever. They said, oh, it's getting serious over there. There's an altar behind y'all. So they get up in front of the altar. Kay Michelle starts, doing the words. Do you take this woman to be your, just playing around. Then he start bending down on one knee. Everybody get all excited and hype and everything like that. Like, what's going on? But, he was just joking. They was just joking. It was all in fun. whatever. But you see what type of guy he is. And in the confessional, Phaedra is like, Portia, tell us the ways of your vagina because it's strong. It's strong. I don't know what Phaedra is talking about over there. Like, Phaedra, you wilding over there. Okay. But anyway. And then they making a toast. K. Michelle says to Portia, her new love, to safe sex, and to pay checks. Yes, yes, yes. So everybody's cheering and they hype and everything like that. Okay. Also, you know, they didn't really introduce, but Lauren's seeming like Lauren's date. Lauren is Portia's sister and she's there. Her little date looked cute too. I was like, who is this guy? He's just walking around, but they didn't really introduce him because Lauren is not a part of the show. But I was like, oh, he looked like a nice, tall, handsome man. I wonder if that seems to be maybe Lauren's man. That's her date, but I don't know if that's her man. But you know, kudos to them if they are dating or, you know, if they just friends. But he looking sexy, y'all. Okay, so now the men are going to go to the cigar area. And Mike said, okay, we're going to talk about the ladies behind their back. You know, just joking, whatever, right? He seems to have a nice sense of humor, so that's good for Portia, okay. Now the ladies are sitting around together and they start talking about how it was nice for them to see Portia and Shamia together and stuff like that. And Portia is like, you know, she has good feelings towards Shamia and things like that. And Shamia said, you know, she is happy about that. She feels the same way. She says she feels the positivity and that's just what she wants to reciprocate and things like that, you know. Then Cynthia kind of brings up the situation between Drew and Shamia. Drew is like, I don't have any issue with Shamia. I'm here. She's there. You know, kind of in a shady voice and way and everything like that. And Shamia's like, well, yes, I'm that. Because that is kind of what Drew indicated, whatever. But supposedly, after the show ended, Shamia had went on social media and went on an apology tour saying she was sorry to everyone in season 16 that she affected or she hurt or anything like that. I don't know why she was making an apology tour. I don't know what she's apologizing for. And apparently Drew feels that Shamia doesn't know what she was apologizing for anyway. So you know, Shamia and Drew obviously are still having an ongoing issue, and it seems to be like more Drew is the one that's upset about whatever happened, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. You know, sometimes that stuff be little petty stuff that happened last season. Who knows? I don't even know, but Drew seems to be upset about it, and that's why she keeps coming at her. Cynthia's like, would you like to take Drew aside and apologize to her? And Shamia's like, no, I will not. Like, I would not like to do that. Let's not do that. Let's just stop that altogether. Okay. And now they start bringing up the fact that Drew said that Angela's receipts were not receipting about the situation with Phaedra. So, you know, from last season, there was a man that approached Angela and said that her husband was cheating on her. And supposedly he was brought to do that by Phaedra. Also, Angela is saying she was at some type of sporting event and Phaedra and another woman were there. The woman that was with Phaedra came up to her and said, I'm so-and-so, and I have the hands, and I'm the one that's messing with your husband, and things like that. Phaedra is, of course, denying that she had any involvement in any situation. She also said that the woman did not go up to Angela at the event, and that she has the tapes to prove it. So, now this is Phaedra lying, because then in confessionals, the producers are asking Phaedra, so you have the tape? You've seen the tape? And Phaedra is like, so I didn't see the tape, but I asked for the tape to be pulled. Okay, so why are you over there lying? You just said that you have the tapes and you saw the tapes and it didn't happen. But then when the producers ask you if you have the tapes and you saw it happen, you like, no, I did not look at the tapes, but I asked for the tapes to be recaptured. Okay, so now the group is like, okay, so we'll recap once the tapes are produced and we can see the tapes. Phaedra is a liar. I don't really care what no one says. Phaedra is a liar. We already know. That's the reason why she actually didn't come back for a couple of seasons, because she was making up lies on Kandi, saying that Kandi wanted to do things illegally to Portia, and then she went back and told Portia all these lies. So we already know that Phaedra is a liar, and Phaedra just got caught up in another lie right here about these tapes, okay? And I definitely do think that Phaedra definitely set those people up to say things to Angela about her husband messing around. Whether he's messing around with them or not, we don't know. Maybe there's some rumors. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. But Phaedra wanted that to come onto the show, and so that's why she sent those people to bring that information to the show. So the lady started going back and forth a little too much for K. Michelle. So she's like, you know what? I don't smoke cigars, but I'm about to rather be out there with the cigar smoke and choking on that than sitting in here with these ladies bickering back and forth. So she went outside with the guys. Angela came out after her and said, no, we need you to come in here. But the guys were like, no, K. Michelle needs some peace. Let her be, whatever. And then everyone kind of comes out side to where the men are. After the whole night, they finally realized that Charles, Angela's husband, was wearing light blue. You know, everybody's supposed to be wearing black. And he's like, I've been wearing this the whole night. You just now realized that I'm not wearing black. But, you know, it was all in fun. And then Mike, who is Portia's friend, date, he gives like the closing toast, and he's like thanking everybody for coming and things like that. And so the ladies are like, hold on a second, like, you the man of the house, you giving the closing toast? And Kelly's like, yeah, he's giving a closing toast, like he just paid the mortgage and this is his house. Then they start wanting Mike and Portia to kiss, so they kiss, and you know, everything ends up on a good night. Now I must say that at least there was no major arguments, and Portia, she definitely matured and did not act a fool. You know, she said that she was being on her best behavior, that she was being a good hostess, and I definitely can say she was, because you could see Portia act a whole lot of other different ways, and people did say a couple of things to her, and she could have responded, but she didn't. She said she's saving that for later. So let's see what happens for the rest of the season. That's the end of this fashion tea.